Hi guys, Bobby Gas here. I got a, I got some new records, some 45s. I've played some of these, right? There's, I think, a couple of new ones in here. I think I might even have showed a couple, but I'll show you these first. I've also got a bunch of Rush records that I just bought from Jenny and Dave down at B-Side Records. Bay or B, I don't know how you say that. How do you say that? And B, and Bay? I always thought it was Bay. I've heard it Bay. Down in the Maritimes, I've heard it pronounced Bay, not B. Anyhow, uh, the records, yeah. I played this one, Billy Fury. Which side did I play? Letter Full of Tears. That's an English record on a Decca. If you noticed, the center's been, they always make the English records with the center in them, and somebody punched that out, eh? I guess they were playing it here in North America, or they were using one of those spindles that hold the 45s. It's the same size as the old spindles that used to play the 45s. Next up here, we got the Shadows. I played something off of this just yesterday, right? This is a French pressing, right? I'll show you how pretty that label is. It's almost mint, this thing here. And another Shadows. I haven't played this yet. It's got Shindig on one side, and the song I like is It's Been a Blue Day. I might play that. I don't know. Here's one I haven't played yet, and I just got it yesterday, or 2 or 3 days ago. The VIPs. I Want to Be Free. That's an English one. And on the flip side here is Don't Let It Go. This guy here marked it no sleeve condition G, used. Boy, I'll tell you, some guys, when they call it condition used, they ought to say something else like trashed. But I played it, and I can play it. It's noisy, though. I can fix that up, though, clean it up. I haven't cleaned it or nothing. And this one here, I played this this is another French pressing. I played this record. Here it is here. Why? And if you didn't hear that, if you didn't check that record out, I'd advise you to go back and check it out. I played it maybe a week or a week and a half ago or whatever, but if you haven't heard that tune, I'd go back and check it out. It's not bad. The VIPs, I mean, I just found out about that band about a month or two ago, and their stuff is so damn expensive. They got one album I'd really like, but it costs a bundle. Now we'll get to the records that Jenny gave me here, eh? The I opened them up with this already, pre-opened them up, but I haven't looked, right? You know, I like to be surprised, and people like to see a surprise. But that opening it up thing, that's too much bullshit. Takes too long. Anyhow, she sent them in two packages, and then put them all together like that. I remember when I sent somebody a couple of packages, records, and I didn't have a bigger box, so I what I did is I went and carved out one side like that, so that one box was, didn't have none of that in it. And then I put it together, and I used the old red green tape, and I taped them together like that. Is how I did it, right? Instead of paying for all that cardboard. And believe me, I paid for cardboard on this one here. Jenny said, she was telling me, I don't know how to. I'm gonna have to think about boxing this because there's a lot of cardboard, and to try to reduce the weight. She was trying to tell me for mailing, right? And I said, "Oh no, send the cardboard too. I don't want the records damaged or nothing." And look what it costs to send this damn thing, right? Can you see that? No, you can't. 54.85, and that's American. So that's like That's over $70 Canadian, right? To mail these 5 Rush records. Okay, let's get into them. I already know that they're, Rush records, right? I can't remember which ones they were. What the hell is this? Barbara Streisand. What's going on here? Oh, it's just more cardboard. And more cardboard. Barbara Streisand. It happened in Central Park. I'm not a fan of Barbara. The nasal voice singing through the nose, and I just don't like her attitude. I had a buddy of mine, a blues buddy, who was just in love with her. Actually paid big money to go see her a number of times, right? What she got on this album here? Secondhand Rose. Oh yeah, that's a Jim Dandy one. That one. Good Lord. Cry Me a River. Happy Days Are Here Again. I Can See It. He Touched Me. Marty the Martian. Never heard that. People. Oh, people who need people are the sorriest people in the world, or something like that. Okay, here we are. Rush. Oh, that's heavy. That feels heavy. What's going on? Russia, Caress of Steel, and Signals. Here, this is heavy as shit. Is this a double album or something? No, these are just heavy records. Thick. No bounce to it. Huh. Nice cover. Rush. Signals. Same thing, another really thick record. Now, when I seen these, Jenny was having one of them sales of hers, and just on a spur of the moment, I went over there and I seen the Rush records, and I was just thinking to myself, geez, those things ought to come home to Canada, right? Like I seen Rush, dozens of times before they ever cut a record. I remember one time down at the Gasworks. That's a sort of a famous bar down here in Toronto that any rockers that would come to Toronto would like to hang around. Ozzy loved it. Ozzy Osbourne. Prince was in there all the time too when he bought a house in here in Toronto. All kinds of other rockers. Anyhow, so I'm in there. I don't even, Rush. I don't even know the band. Nobody knows the band. They're in the Gasworks, and and I go in there with a buddy of mine, Stevie Romolo, who was a blues singer in a band, still working in a band, as a matter of fact, right? And he worked in the movie industry as a carpenter too. And so we go in there and we sit down, and this band up there, they're a Led Zeppelin cover band, and they were as loud as shit. I mean, they were so damn loud. My glass of beer that I had was foaming all the time because they were so loud. The Gasworks was a skinny little venue, maybe like a storefront, maybe 20 feet wide, right? That's all. Maybe 20 feet. Yeah, about 20 feet, I guess. Maybe a little more, 22. And then, along down the back, right? It was on a corner, a young street, and I forget the other street. Anyhow, so we're sitting there, and these guys are loud as shit, and I ain't digging it. So I tell my buddy Steve, I said, there's a drugstore across the street. I'm going to go get some cotton batting. And he just laughs. So I get up out of my chair, leave my beer there. I walk across Young Street, and I go in there and I buy a bottle of aspirin because I know aspirin. I used to use a lot of aspirin, but I know the lap bottles had a bunch of cotton batting in the top of them to keep the pills from rolling around, to fill it up, I guess. So I take the cotton batting out, and I get 2 nice little pieces, and I stick in my ears, and I go back to the bar and I sit down, and we're playing, and they're playing and playing, and now I can, it's not bugging my ass, right? I mean, just, my ears still were pretty good then, right? It was 72 that Uriah Heep ruined them, right? But for Rush, when it was, 1970, I think this was, You know, might have been 69, I don't remember. Might have been 71, who remembers? But anyhow, my ears were still good before Uriah Heep ruined them. And I had to have the cotton batting in there for how loud they were, because we were only small room. We were right in front of the stage. Uh, the tall speakers, the big column speakers, we were only, I suppose, maybe 10 feet from them. And that's why my beer was foaming all the time. Anyhow, so they finish a set and they sit down by a table. They were just round little tables like that, two seaters at the gasworks. You might get three there, but their table and our table was a two seater. The two guitar players, Getty and I forget the other guy's name. They sit down, right? It's all quiet finally, eh? So I take the cotton batting out of my ears and I put them on a table. And I gotta tell you, they were the best Led Zeppelin cover band I ever heard, just without doubt, right? And there was only three of them. And Neil Peart wasn't with them then. It was that other drummer that was on the first album, and he quit or he didn't like touring or something. I forget what the hell it was all about. But so shit, damn thing went out on me. It's because I'm talking. So I think maybe I even told this story before. So I cracked to, I'm not shy, right? So I cracked to the guys. I says, guy's doing a lot of lead day. And he says, oh, yeah, yeah, great band. Oh, yeah, fabulous band. And I said, did you ever see him? And I forget what he said. I don't think they did because they were in 69. They were in Toronto here a couple of times, right? January. And a little later in the summertime, they were downtown. And I seen them. And they said, no, no, I think they didn't. I don't think they saw them. But anyhow, so I says to him, where are you from? I says, what's the name of your band? He says, Rush. I says, where are you from? And Getty says, Willowdale. I said, Willowdale. When I was a kid, I used to go to the show up that way. My pop used to take us up there. And next door to the show was a pet store, and they had an aquarium in the front window. And I love fish, and I used to stand when my two brothers and my mom and dad were waiting in the line. I would go over to the fish tank and I just stare at it and watch all the fish, until they call me to we're going in. Anyhow, so I asked him about that. Do you remember the fish tank and the pet store next door? So we started talking and rapping and all of that kind of horseshit. We had a common thing you could rap about, right? And these guys weren't famous. In them days you could talk to guys that were on stage. They'd sit down with you. You didn't even have to buy them a beer, right? Anyhow, so they became famous, right? Freaked me out when they were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When they made it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I never thought much of Getty's voice, right? Still don't, right? I mean, they're great musicians. There's no two ways about it. But the reason I bought the albums is because they're Canadian and I figured they ought to come home. And they were only $10 a piece. So starts, I tell her, she showed four Rush albums, and so it was like $40 is what I figure is what I'd be spending, right? So hey, yeah, sure, send them along, and then she lets me know that there's another one, five of them. Jenny lets me know there's five of them, and well, yeah, okay, send all of them, right? And so I figure that's $50. I'm not thinking either, right? I'm just bringing some Rush records home. So with the postage. And the American, the 50 American, you turn that into, Canadian dollars. And I spent about $140 for the five records. Now, I know I could have bought them cheaper here in Toronto. Just wasn't thinking. But when I see what it was going to cost, I'm not going to say no. I already committed, right? And, when you say you're going to do something, you do it. That's all there is to it. That Willowdale Theater too. I remember a couple of years. Oh no, it was around the same time actually that Me and a buddy, we went up to that show. 2001: A Space Odyssey was playing there, and me and a buddy went up there 3 nights in a row on acid to see that movie at the Willowdale Theater. It was a small little show with air conditioning, and that's why we went. It was a small theater, wouldn't be many people around. Anyhow, here's the other package. So there's three, and oh, there's something else in here. What do we got here? Yeah, for sure. Stop the global whining. Good one. There's something else in here, too. Meat and Three. Breakfast with Baysides. Oh. This is a, I guess this is let's take a look at this. Had a whole bunch of songs on it. What do we got here? 21 songs. Naughty Rooster, By the Night Beats, Calling All Cows, Blues Rockers, Breakfast at Trestles, The Rhythm Rockers, Don Bowman, The Teen Idols, Sam Cooke, I know Sam, Ed Allen. All the titles here: Egghead, Too Much Pork, Munch, Jelly Jelly by the Allman Brothers, Sticky by the Torques, Torques is how people would be pronouncing it. But in the old days, they were called the Torquays, even though it's spelled like Torques. They called themselves the Torquays. Let's have a look at this. Wonder what the label is. Oh. It's a homemade label jobby. I wonder how you do that. This will be interesting. I'd be interesting to hear this. I mean, Dave might have. Oh, there's Tangerine by Led Zeppelin on here, too. Black Flag, The Descendants, The Chips. This will be interesting to hear, Jenny, I should say. Where's the cover? Here it is. Yeah, thanks. I'll dig this. Well, maybe. We'll see. Neat. I dig this, man. Something new. Something to hear. Yeah, she's kind of, all that doing stuff at home, macrame stuff. What's the name of that girl that always had a woman on TV that always had that, I don't know, potpourri and stuff like that? I forget her name. Anyhow, let's get to the records. This video's gone on long enough. That was 2 records already, so there should be 3 in here. Yeah, there's 3. The Farewell to Kings. Same thing, really thick. These are all in great shape, too, I'll bet. The covers, I mean, look at the way Dave took care of them. Huh. We never used to take care of our records like you guys do. I'll tell you that right now. Christ. Rush 2112. And the last one here is Rush. Grace Under Pressure. Or Grace Under Pressure. Well, there you go, guys. That's my new finds. 5 records from Jenny. 5 Rush records from Jenny. Brought them home to Canada. I don't know, do we have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Canada? They'd be on it if they're on the American one, that's for damn sure. I like this cover the best. Let's see what the back of it looks like. Oh, it's even neater. It's like a waterfall with a big old gnarled up tree sitting on the edge. Neat. Well, guys, that's it. Ain't got no more for you. This mailing cost. See, I just bought some cigars because I went down to my cigar store and they were closed. I guess the pandemic got to them or something like that. I don't know. I should phone and see if they're going to get open or whatever the story is. But anyhow, Brian, video audio file. He he left me an Earl of a cigar place where he gets his cigars, I guess, right? So I ordered 25 of them, and they were like half a yard. A yard's $100. Half a yard, they were like $50 Canadian, or 40 something, or maybe a little more than 50 Canadian. And then I buy them, and I just pick something to buy it. I don't look at if I need it or want it, I just buy it. I don't pay too much attention to costs, conversions, and all the rest of it, right? So I pay for it, and then with the mailing and all of that kind of crap, it cost me over $100 anyhow, right? So these originally, at $50, 25 cigars, it's a $2 cigar, right? And now these cigars are well, they're going to cost me more than $5 a piece. Boy, these mailmen, have they gotten a raise lately? I know when my old man worked there back in the 50s, I mean, he had to have a second job. I mean, we starved. I mean, this was before they made a union. Eh, anyhow, see you later, guys. It's coming around, eh, boys? Later. Thanks, Jenny. Dave, you too, Dave.